Hey everybody, today's just a quick video on leak testers. I see a lot of people using the EK one and they're using it wrong. I understand that there's a green area here and a red area, and logic would dictate to you that green means good, but you should never be going past half a bar. So 0.5 is the maximum ever, and to be honest, there's no reason to even go that high. You will never have this kind of pressure inside your loop. So when you're pumping it to like 0.75, which a lot of people will do because that's the end of the green, what you're doing is you're creating the chance of cracking your acrylic, you're moving O-rings out of their original positions, and you're essentially popping tubing out of the fitting. Now, for some people that go, well, I did it and nothing happened. Well, maybe you got lucky. But the point is, you should not be putting in that much pressure. Now, EK has acknowledged this dial needs correction, but that doesn't change the fact that there are tons of these out there already, right? So when people buy them, they're not going to read the manual. They just go see the green. They go, okay, as long as I'm in this range, I'm good. Like, there are YouTubers that make this mistake. I see these on YouTube videos for big tech tubers, and they're pumping it all the way over here. Now, if we were to just take a look at the older Aqua Computer version, you'll notice it only goes up to 0.6 bar, and there's no green, red, etc. So what people would do when they used to get these before people made their own was they would go online, they would read the instruction booklet, and they would know to not go past 0.5 at the very maximum, right? So looking at this gauge, you would think 0.3 to 0.4 would probably be the most you would go, logically speaking, if you had to take a guess, right? So it's not EK's fault that this gauge is 1 bar, right? They don't make gauges. They probably outsourced the gauge and then put their own cover sticker over it and called it a day, right? I mean, this is not exactly an EK made component. So all of these parts, you can tell they're not EK made components. They're like, maybe not this piece, but these are standard components. You can buy these things at a hardware store. So with that said, I'll also give 3 tips on these things. Number 1, so how much of a drop can you have when you leak test? If it's just one little notch, these little notch bars in there, after about half an hour, you're probably good. Number 2, you don't need the leak test 24 hours. You just do, with these things, okay? You could do an hour, and that's pretty much tells you everything you need to know. If after an hour you're holding steady, you drop 1 notch at best, you're good to go. If you have water in the loop already, let's just say you just changed the GPU block only, then you're going to have a little bit of a drop because the water is going to move around a bit, and that's okay. Number 3, the biggest tip I can give is when you're leak testing, do every single component of your loop separately before you start assembly. There's nothing worse than finding out your radiator was leaking after you've put everything together, all right? Limit the amount of time you have to spend troubleshooting if you have a leak. If you leak tested every component, you would know which component was bad right off the gate, and leak test as you go. So let's just say I have 2 radiators, 1 GPU, 1 CPU. I have 1 radiator installed. I have it linked to the CPU block. At this point, you can stop and do a leak test, right? If it's holding, it's only like half an hour or less that you have to do this. Just 20 minutes is enough. If it's holding, continue. And if you happen to run into a leak, let's say installing the 2nd radiator, then you know that somewhere between the last good known leak test and now is where something went wrong. So for example, if you did like 2 runs, maybe it's the fittings or those 2 runs. And that saves down a lot of time. So you're not playing that soap bubble game with the dishwater soap for a long time. And that's pretty much the best way to do it. Okay. So one more thing that people need to understand: when you're water cooling, you're leak testing every day, right? There's no way to stop any leak, period. We're just reducing the chances of a leak as much as possible. Okay. So with that said, thanks for watching and stay safe.